Alright, I'm going to go over how you would annotate this whole aid or cheat sheet real quick. Okay, so what I draw over this is our umbrella for transport to divide out these two types of transport. So on the left side we have passive transport because the molecules are going from an area of high concentration across the membrane to an area of low concentration. Alright, remember there's no energy being used for passive transport. Same thing for facilitated diffusion, high through the protein to low. Okay? So it doesn't matter what. So we have, this is our protein right here. So we have diffusion on the left, facilitated diffusion in the middle. The right side is representing our active side, okay, because you're going from an area of low concentration across the membrane to an area of high concentration. And this is our ATP, represent our energy. So this is going to be our protein pump. This little stick figure on the hill represents passive transport because you're going from an area of high to low, so there's no energy being used. Opposite of this, low to high, pushing up the hill, is being active, so there is energy being used. The next image is, and I forgot to tell you that osmosis going to be on the passive side. So we can put osmosis, movement of water on that side. This image over here is representing osmosis. So for osmosis, we've been saying the term salt sucks. Okay, so salt or a solute is going to draw water towards it. Okay, so water is going to move in the direction where there's more salt. The first picture here, you have the cells are getting smaller because water is leaving because there's more salt on the outside of the cell. So that salt is drawing that water out of the cell and the cells are getting smaller. This one, there's more salt on the inside, so water, or H2O, is going in because there's more salt on the inside of the cell. Okay, in the middle picture, just equilibrium, equal movement of water in between, because there's an equal distribution of salt also. The next picture down here is our photosynthesis cellular respiration picture. I always write in water here, carbon dioxide, and then oxygen and glucose. Okay, so remember oxygen and glucose are always found together. If you want to write them down here, remember that OG are always on the same side of the reaction. Okay, and then this represents our sun. This right here represents our ATP. So when you go through this process, remember photosynthesis is on the right side. I always write PS on the left side. Okay, with this green chloroplast, cellular respiration is on the right. I write CR. So water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight are going into the chloroplast for photosynthesis. They are the reactants. Sunlight's coming in, and then what's being produced are products, oxygen and glucose. Plants create their own oxygen, they create oxygen for us and their own food or glucose. Well, oxygen and glucose are going to become reactants for cellular respiration. We take in oxygen, we take in our energy source, we can't create our own, and then through the process of cellular respiration, we are making energy, which is our ATP, and then water and carbon dioxide. So whatever's going into the reaction, we call those the reactants. So going in are the reactants, being created or produced are our products. Okay, so oxygen and glucose become the reactants for cellular respiration, and then oxygen, water, carbon dioxide, ATP are the products for cellular respiration. And remember, all this is happening. This is our chloroplast. And this right here is the mitochondria. So the products of one are the reactants of the other. Okay? The last three images are about DNA. So this first one, apples in the tree, cars in the garage. Supposed to help you remember that A and T, adenine and thymine, pair together. Always. Cars in the garage. C and G, so cytosine and guanine, pair together when we're looking at complementary base pairs. This image on the end, you have a fly, a fungus, and a bacteria. This is supposed to represent that DNA is universal. It's in all living things, okay? The biggest deal is that the order or sequence of bases is what makes us unique, okay? So we all have the same bases. A's, T's, C's, and G's are found in every living organism, but it's the order or sequence of those bases that makes us unique from everyone. And then if you're more visual and you have to remember that you have an apple tree here to help you remember that A pairs with T, T pairs with A, car in a garage for C and G, G and C, and then you have this nucleotide. Alright, remember nucleotide is our building blocks for nucleic acids, or a monomer. Many nucleotides together make this guy right here, our DNA double helix, or our DNA strand. So this is a picture of a double helix. Okay, whenever we label our nucleotide, we label it with a P for phosphate on the outside. This right here is a sugar. And then this rectangle is our NB, our nitrogen base. And remember that those nitrogen bases are our A's, our T's, our C's, and our G's.